I've stated this. Here's a chance for you to see it in writing. Well, it's what we call the 3V leadership model. And it's very simple. Now, there's a lot of complexity and variation underneath how people implement this. But this is a great way to think about how I, as a leader, or what leader should I aspire to work for? You want to work for a leader or be a leader who communicates an inspiring vision. And that's usually a pro-social vision where somehow the work is helping people. So it could be if you're in education, it could be helping students grow intellectually and in character. If you're in personal products, you say you work for Procter & Gamble, you could be helping people by simplifying their lives. So if you're an architect, it could be by bringing aesthetic beauty to the world through your design. You get the idea, but those are the things that really bring people together. Secondly, they value people. That means you care about them and you care about their best interests. That makes an impact. And then finally, you give them a voice. Now let's go through each of these briefly. So the simple formula is vision plus value plus voice equals connection, which is the antithesis of burnout. So vision, here's a quick definition. When everyone in the organization is motivated by the mission, united by the values, and proud of the reputation. So one of my old bosses, I used to head marketing for part of Charles Schwab, the private wealth management group called U.S. Trust in New York. And I had the chance to interact with Schwab some. And one of the things I loved about Chuck Schwab's vision was for the firm to provide the most useful and ethical financial products in the world. Now you can see how that's pro-social. It's really caring about the interest of your clients and delivering a product that is of a clear benefit to them. That is an example of vision. Value, when everyone in the organization understands the needs of people, remember those 7 needs we talked about earlier, respect, recognition, belonging, etc. Appreciates their positive, unique contributions, so people are expressing their appreciation or recognition, another way to say it. And then they go beyond just words to also help others achieve their potential. Now, when I was thinking about just giving you one example, now I started with Charles Schwab, so I'm just going to stick with that one. And just in the times I've interacted with Chuck Schwab, I remember having lunch with him one time in San Francisco, and he told me how much different Schwab was from other cultures on Wall Street. And I really saw that after 9/11, Schwab had to reduce its workforce because they had built up anticipating that the market would continue to rise, and it dropped dramatically after 9/11. And one of the things that I saw Chuck Schwab do was that he took $10 million of it out of his own pocket and established a trust to pay for the education of employees who were laid off who wanted to go back to school. He also granted them options as they were laid off. Now, I have never heard of any other firm in history that granted options to people who were being laid off. But in addition, Schwab also, the layoffs were implemented as a very last resort. They tried everything else, and just costs had to be cut for the firm's survival's sake. And I really just saw Chuck Schwab, I would work for him again. I just think he's one of the best leaders I've seen in financial services or anywhere. And part of it is because he really cares about people. Thirdly is the element of voice. And voice exists when everyone in the organization seeks the ideas of others, so it reflects the character strength of humility, shares ideas and opinions honestly, and safeguards relational connections. Now, Chuck Schwab, one of the things I've seen him do, he really spent a lot of time traveling around presenting the annual plan to employees around the world. He was always interested in what people thought. He just really had that humility to want to hear if he, what was right, what was wrong, what was missing, and from other people. And I just showed that he really cared about giving people a voice, and he learned from what they had to say. He listened and he considered what they had to say.